Hello there, and welcome back to the Empire. Before we begin with episode 2, I've also done a breakdown for episode 1, so make sure to go check that out if you haven't already. I'll be making breakdowns for every episode of the Bad Batch Season 2 and the Mandalorian Season 3 to cover everything you may have missed from the episode. Now episode 2, Ruins of War. Let's begin. Starting with the cliffhanger from last episode, Omega, Echo, and Tech are free-falling out of the sky towards Serrano, until the re-entry thrusters finally activate to save them from instant death. They slam into the side of a mountain and nearly fall off, another happy landing. Though unfortunately, Tech breaks his leg during the crash landing, so Echo and Omega have to hoist him to the top of the mountain. Omega insists they go back for the credits, but Echo insists that escaping is more important than the loot. Back at the castle, Hunter and Wrecker exit into the destroyed city to try and make their way back to the Marauder without being spotted. Captain Wilco leading a company of clones continued their hunt for the rogue clones, at least in the eyes of the Empire. After word that 2 of the rogue clones are headed to the ruined city, Wilco has his men redirected there and orders them to monitor comm channels. Hunter and Wrecker make their way through the bombed city, avoiding LAAT gunships and platoons of clones. Hunter realizes they're being monitored and sends out a message for all the team to go radio silent. The trio receives the coded message and continues their way through the forest until Omega notices they're being watched. The group surrounds the Serenian man and questions his allegiance, but the man Romar Adel denies he's with the Empire. After discovering his nearby shelter, Romar with no other option but to lead them there. Back at the city ruins, Wilco orders more men to locate all 50 of the cargo containers to find the rest of the rogue clones. Seeing how tactical this clone captain is very cool, and it makes you wonder where he served during the Clone Wars. Since their armor has been updated to be more in unison with the rest of the army, there's no way to truly know. But I'd like to think he served with Commander Bakara as a galactic marine. He definitely has the spirit of one, and they were some of the toughest clones to exist. Hunter realizes that him and Wrecker are going to have to fight their way out if they want to make it back to the ship. They soon discover some old Separatist tanks that we see many times throughout the Clone Wars and the movies. But the tanks are no good and they end up scrapping the idea to figure another way out. Meanwhile, at Romar's house, he explains how there are more survivors, but Omega just wants to go back to the war chest and complete the mission. Romar explains how Count Dooku funded his war efforts by not only stealing from other worlds, but his own people as well, and they despised him and wanted nothing to do with the cargo. He shows Omega that there's more to life than just war, but she's still adamant on going back to the war chest to get what they came for. Once they head back upstairs, Echo goes out to search for clone patrols. Meanwhile, Omega notices a rappelling cable and heads back to the cargo, determined to help out the team by collecting some of the credits. Bringing us back to Hunter and Wrecker, who have been spotted by Wilco and his squadron. The 2 of them quickly try to fix the cannon on one of the tanks as Wilco calls in for an air support. Wrecker quickly creates a portable cannon and destroys the V-Wing racing towards them moments ago. The rest of the Imperial clones are now forced to retreat. Back on the mountain, Echo returns to Romar's shelter where they all notice Omega is gone. They figure out she went back to the cargo container, so Echo quickly goes after her, with Tech managing to follow even with a broken leg. After arriving at the war chest, a trio of Imperial clones force Echo to jump into the cargo where he finds Omega right where he assumed she would be, and she has a bag of credits with her. Outside the container, the clones inform Captain Wilco that they have them surrounded. He sends a gunship to assist them, but Tech gets there just in time to take out the trio of clones. Hunter and Wrecker finally reach the ship and head out to help the rest of the team and leave the planet. Back in the container, Echo and Omega climb out the best they can, even with crates falling over. But Omega gets knocked down by one and loses her bag of credits. She's still determined to gather the credits because she overheard Echo tell Hunter how they don't have a normal life because of her. But Echo is able to convince her to leave it, and they escape the container with the help of Tech and Romar, who met up with Tech to assist him. Hunter arrives piloting the ship and the Bad Batch is reunited. Romar gives Omega the kaleidoscope he showed her earlier, and even after being offered to leave with them, he chooses to stay, then watches as they blast off. Now on the ship, we get a moment between Omega and Echo where she apologizes about how she acted on the mission. But Echo reassures her that he's glad that they took her in, otherwise they'd probably be serving the Empire. Later at the shipyard, Captain Wilco explains to Admiral Rampart that his men have nearly recovered all of the war chest. But Rampart is more interested in Clone Force 99's involvement, noting that they were said to be dead on Kamino. He orders Wilco to falsify his report so it doesn't involve Clone Force 99, but being the good soldier that he is, Wilco stands his ground and he says he won't do it. Not wanting to lose the favor of Grand Admiral Tarkin, Rampart aims a blaster at Wilco and shoots him off the shipyard, and we cut to black. This episode was a great one. Seeing not only the Bad Batch but Captain Wilco and his company was something I enjoyed a lot. I also think the interaction between Wilco and Rampart was interesting and plays an important part to the rest of the season. What did you think of the season premiere? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, then make sure to subscribe and join the Empire. I hope to see you in the next one, and may the Force be with you, my friends.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. You are not a Jedi.